everyone, and welcome back to Path to the Priesthood, the podcast where we sit down with Greek Orthodox clergymen from around the country and we ask them what it was that brought them to ordained ministry in Christ's church. I'll be your host, Christo Papademos. We have a very special guest for you this evening, someone who's a very good friend of mine. But before we kick things over to him and hear straight from him, let's hear a little bit about his biography. Father Andrew has been a priest for 11 years, and as a very proud Clevelander, he feels incredibly blessed to be ministering in his hometown. His parents, Theodore and Susan Lentz, raised him in their inner city home along with his sister, Sarah. Father Andrew began his undergraduate studies at Loyola University in Chicago. That's cool. And then transferred and graduated from the George Washington University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science in 2005. That's right. Father Andrew went on to St. Vladimir Seminary to begin his Master of Divinity studies, and then transferred to Holy Cross Greek Orthodox School of Theology, where he met his wife, Presbytera. Is it Lorena? Lorena? Actually, how does she pronounce it, Father?
Lorena.
Lorena. Presbytera Lorena. Very nice. As a student immigrant from Albania, she graduated valedictorian in 2009 from Hellenic College with a Bachelor of Arts in Business Management and Leadership. She currently works in an asset liability management for PNC Bank. Very nice. Father Andrew and Presbytera Lorena were married in 2010. Father Andrew graduated with distinction in 2009. As a seminary graduate, Father Andrew accepted his first position as a youth director and pastoral assistant. I did not know that. I'm a pastoral assistant, so I appreciate that. And that was at Saints Constantine and Helen Church in Reading, Pennsylvania. On October 6, 2012, he was the first to be ordained by the newly installed Metropolitan Savas of Pittsburgh. Father Andrew was ordained a deacon at Saints Constantine and Helen Cathedral in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and later a priest at Annunciation Church in Akron, Ohio, on December 23, 2012. He has served St. Demetrios Church in Rocky River, Ohio, since January 1st of 2019. He and Presbytera Lorena have two adorable sons, Theodore and Lazaros. Nice, good names. Father Andrew is president of the Metropolis of Pittsburgh Clergy Syndesmotes and the vice president of the Greater Cleveland Council of Orthodox Churches. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Father Andrew. It's good to finally have you on the podcast, Father. So we heard a little bit about your background there and a little bit about your life journey up into seminary. But now we're going to hand things over to you and let you tell your story and share with the people listening at home what your path to the priesthood was.
Now, I've gotten that question often. I said,
right.
How did you come into this? How are you a priest?
Yeah.
What was it? When did you know? What was it? And it was high school. High school is when I had made that decision. I still followed my path through undergrad, but it was really in high school, and that was because the high school that I went to St. Ignatius High School, Jesuit preparatory school, and so being in the inner city, that was a huge deal for me and my family. That was like getting the college acceptance letter. As soon as you set foot on that campus as a freshman. So as soon as you're in, they're already asking you, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go to school? Like, where are you going to go to college?
Wow. As a freshman, so, boy, that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so sophomore year, there was an alumnus who came on. He was given the Distinguished Alumnus Award. And this was an award that was given annually at the school. And the alumnus would make a presentation to the entire student body. And cool. We would be all ears because we all knew the tradition was that distinguished alumnus would give us a day off. And so we were extremely
very nice. Yeah, for sure.
So that year, the distinguished alumnus was the religion editor for Newsweek magazine.
Whoa!
And in his speech to the students, he said, now men, I'm going to tell you something that your parents probably aren't going to like, not going to want to hear. So obviously we are all ears.
For sure.
So he says, I know that you are all preparing to go on to school, go on to college. And many of you are going to be doctors. He goes, but I'm going to give you a piece of advice. When you go off to school, study what you love to study. You've heard the phrase, do what you love and you never work a day in your life. You know, study what you love. You want to be a doctor, but you love literature, get an English degree.
Yeah.
You know, med school is always going to be there for you. You can always take the MCATs. You know, go get that English degree and then go on to med school. You know, if you want to be a lawyer, you can always take the LSATs.
Yeah.
Because you love biology, go get that biology degree. Study what you love. That really stuck with me. And so, being a Jesuit institution, a lot of the other Jesuit colleges would recruit, hard on campus, and
Sure.
so I definitely wanted to go off to a big city and check it out. And so, Loyola like really fit that bill. I knew at that point, I really thought hard about what is it that I love to study, and I loved to study theology. I thrived in my theology courses. A lot of my
Cool.
friends and classmates, the theology requirement in our school was just something to get through.
Sure.
But I'm actually still friends with one of my theology teachers to this day. So as I thought about what it was that I wanted to do uh, with my life, and thinking about, do what you love and you never work a day in your life.
Right.
I was standing in church for Great Vespers and serving in the
I'm
altar.
sorry, which church are you at this point? Are you in college or high school now?
I'm sorry. So this is high school,
Okay, high school,
and I grew up in the OCA. So
oh, okay.
my home parish is St. Theodosius Cathedral in Cleveland.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So so standing in the altar, serving, and I'm looking around, and I'm praying, and I'm thinking, man, this would be great if I could get paid to go to church.
Right? Like professional athletes get paid to play the games they love, to be paid to serve the services you love. Not a bad gig, right? Yeah.
That's it. And I thought
Yeah.
I could be a priest. This could work.
Yeah.
We could do this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And so
awesome.
that was kind of the light bulb. That was the click, the epiphany of maybe this is it. Um,
Very cool.
and so I went off to college and started my degree in theology. Um, and as I talked to more and more priests in the OCA, um, the starting to gather kind of the realities of
Yeah,
being
sure.
a priest, and beginning to learn about some of the struggles, because these guys were saying, okay, you need to be prepared for this. It was back when we were growing up, back when I was in high school, we didn't have podcasts. We didn't have this. I had to go out and get it myself.
No information. Yeah. This is actually really
Yeah,
interesting to hear how you kind of piece together the puzzle that would create like the realistic picture for ordained ministry. And so luckily you have these other priests kind of filling in maybe some aspects you weren't even aware of, I'm sure.
right. And one of those very real things was that being able to have an income to provide for a family um,
Yeah.
was a real struggle, especially in the OCA.
Yes. Yeah.
So they said have something to fall back on, have something else. You're going to need to have a side gig. Be ready for that.
Yeah.
So okay, so I start thinking long and hard about this, and realizing that a bachelor's degree in theology is not going to do that. I
Yeah.
was I was I was minoring in international studies, so then I started looking into that a little bit more, and then someone had told me, hey, you should consider political science and maybe a different university. And George Washington University, that's a great school for that field. I really think that might be up your alley.
So you'd gone from Cleveland, Chicago, and then while in Chicago, not only change universities, but pick up and move to a different large city. Interesting. Okay. I mean, there's no better place
Yeah.
for a poli sci degree, right? Yeah.
That's it.
That's
That's
yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
um, so I applied. I got accepted. And so I did 2 years at Loyola, and then 2 years at GW. And while I was there, I was blessed enough to know the right people and to be able to intern on Capitol Hill.
No
Um,
way.
I had the honor and privilege to work for Senator George Voinovich of Ohio, uh,
Cool.
memory eternal, and he was a great man. Um, he he had on even at that point. I was still my plans were still that get my undergraduate degree and go off to seminary. So I arrive in DC. I'm at GW. I get the internship. My plan still at that moment is I'm going on to seminary. So as I started to really enjoy that work, I started thinking, I'm like, you know, maybe I'm going to stay in DC.
For sure. A
Um,
natural thought. Yeah.
so uh, in the second year, I started getting some. I moved from the senator's office to the House side. I was working on the House side of the Hill to be able, because if you're going to work on Capitol Hill, you need to have experience in both the House and the Senate. You need to have networks on both sides.
Definitely.
So uh, I get to my senior year, and now I've really got to decide: am I going on to seminary, or am I going to stay? And I had a clear path to working on the Hill. If I
Right.
if I wanted the job was mine.
Yeah,
Um,
seemed like all things in your life were going that direction. Would have seems to me, obviously you were living it, so it's different, but it seems like the easy choice would have been to go to Capitol Hill. The eggs were in that basket, shall we say, but somehow, spoiler alert, you chose the other path. And what went into that decision?
so I had realized in those last 2 months of my senior year that I was no longer working on the Hill to help people. I had begun enjoying being in the mix, and
Uh,
even though even though I was just an intern, I was still a part of the power, you
you're
know.
becoming a politician before your own eyes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm thinking, because I had those thoughts. I can go back to Ohio. I can run. I can, do I want to continue a path, in national politics, or do I want to go back, work for the city of Cleveland, um, or in state politics? What is it? But
Yeah.
as I really did some soul searching, my original thought process of wanting to help people
Yes.
had changed, and I had seen in other people how that changes them for the worse. And seeing that, when I realized that was where I was, that I was on that path, time to get out of here.
Look at
You know,
that.
go. I wanted it. I knew I wanted to go to seminary. I knew I wanted to get that degree. Um, I still maintain those contacts. So I thought, okay, go to seminary, get the degree, and if I still feel this calling to work, on the Hill, I can always come back.
Totally.
Um, so I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to seminary. So I applied, and growing up in the OCA, I applied to St. Vladimir's.
And then how
So
many years
uh,
did you spend there before? It's funny. Obviously, I'm a graduate of Holy Cross. I know virtually nothing about St. Vladimir's, but is it also a 4-year process from beginning to end for guys coming with degrees from other schools? Is it a shorter process?
so St. Vladimir's is only a 3-year program.
Oh, it is. Interesting.
Yeah, and
Okay.
there's some major differences between St. Vladimir's and Holy Cross. So one is that
For
the
sure.
MDiv is a 3-year program at St. Vladimir's, but St. Vladimir's
Okay.
also, and I could be wrong. I don't know if that's still the case today. Probably is, that there's a service requirement, a part as a
Oh, okay.
of the MDiv. So uh, every student that is there is working at the school, and so this is the way
Huh.
that St. Vladimir's is able to keep the cost of the education down. And so
Sure.
everybody's doing dishes, helping the chef with cooking a meal,
Wow.
lunch, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. working the bookstore or working, very whatever it is. Everybody's got a job.
Whereas at Holy Cross, obviously there were plenty of student jobs available if you wanted one. I worked in the bookstore at Holy Cross. Did
Yeah.
you have an on-campus job at the school at Holy Cross now?
At Holy Cross, I didn't. At Holy Cross, I had an off-campus job. I was a barista in Putterham Circle at Starbucks.
No way. The Putterham Circle, for those of you that don't know, the Starbucks in Putterham Circle is a favorite amongst many of the seminarians. It's very close. It's a quick drive from campus. I didn't know you worked there. That's amazing. I was a regular
Yeah.
there by the end of my time.
so
So
so was
cool.
I. I needed to reverse my expense and income.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. Okay, so you began at St. Vlad's, obviously because you were coming from the OCA. At what point did you switch to Holy Cross and enter GOA, which is where
so
you are now?
so St. Vladimir's and Holy Cross have an exchange program
Did not know that. Okay.
where they have one seminarian. At least this was in my time. Um, there one seminarian from St. Vlad's would go to Holy Cross for one semester, and one seminarian from Holy Cross would go to St. Vlad's for a semester.
Look at that. I don't think they were doing this when I was there. Interesting. Okay.
So seeing that, I really wanted to do that, but only one of us could go.
Look at that.
And I had when I was in high school, one of the other things that had happened was that I went to Camp Nazareth, the Metropolis of Pittsburgh summer camp. I made a lot of friends there, and that was how all the guys in my capman were from the same church, Saints Constantine and Helen, on the east side of Cleveland. And
Cool.
they all invited me after camp. You got to come to our festival. They invited me
Of
to
course.
church. They brought me into Goya. I was the second tallest guy at the time, so I was on the basketball team.
Playing basketball. They recruited you. That's what they did. That's awesome.
Yeah, second tallest guy at 5'11".
Yeah. Oh man. So cool. So there was like
um,
contacts from that's Saint Constantine and Helen.
yeah,
Okay.
so so I had a lot of Greek friends, and I knew Metropolitan Maximus of blessed memory.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
and so um, I asked Archbishop Job, also of blessed memory. I
Okay.
asked him for his blessing and told him about my desire. And I asked him for his blessing to go to Holy Cross and to ask Metropolitan Maximus for his endorsement to go to Holy Cross. And he gave me the blessing to do so. Um,
Amazing.
and so in that way, I was at St. Vladimir's for 3 semesters, and then I had uh, so for five semesters at
Okay.
Holy Cross, 2.5 years.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah, and so in a way, I got the best of both seminaries.
What would you say some of your favorite aspects of the seminary were in general, whether it's St. Vlad's or Holy Cross? Of course, I'm more familiar with the Holy Cross experience, but what were some takeaways or yeah, just some highlights of your time as a seminarian?
Some of the things that so I'll say some of the things that the highlights of St. Vladimir's, and then the highlights of Holy Cross. For St. Vladimir's, um, at both schools it was definitely the professors. Here are the guys. Here are the experts, the leading theologians that can teach in our language.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That are English speakers. And so
Yeah.
and here are the guys that are getting published. These are the guys that I heard sermons of, heard on. Do you remember cassette tapes?
I do actually. That was right as I was coming into the world. They were still around. I think the first few cars had the option for the slot for the cassettes. Yeah.
Yeah, cassette tapes. Hearing Father, being able to hear all of these guys. Now they're my teachers. Now I'm sitting at their feet.
Look at that.
And then the worship experience at St. Vladimir's is really something special. I love Byzantine chant. Good Byzantine chant,
Nothing else like it.
is so, it hits you in your soul.
It does. It does.
But when you hear dozens of people singing together in harmony, 4, 5, 6, 8 part harmony. It blows you away.
I didn't even know there were 8 parts to
To,
harmony. I thought 4 was as high as they go. Look at that.
to be able to sing Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky, the all of these incredible composers is really something special. And it's almost at St. Vladimir's. It's almost as if like being able to sing was a requirement to get in.
Oh
Everybody,
wow.
just about everybody sang. So many people sang. It was really, really wonderful. And they even had, because the Antiochians don't have a seminary of their own.
Right.
Even we would have Byzantine chant as well. I think every Monday night vespers was Byzantine chant.
Cool. Okay. So they
so
sprinkled some in there. Yeah.
Right. So I was already getting a little bit of a taste.
Yeah.
While I was there.
Before you got the full meal at Holy Cross with the Byzantine chant, because of course they have very many talented chanters, and they form amazing choirs for feast days, and I mean just even daily services are pretty amazing chanting. So cool. Okay, so the professors and the worship experience at St. Vlad's were nice high points, and then at Holy Cross, I'm sure maybe some similarities. Or what was it? What kind of sticks out to you as you think back on your time at Holy Cross that was very helpful or memorable in positive ways to you?
For Holy Cross, it was the brotherhood. It was the brotherhood of your classmates, of your schoolmates. That seminary isn't easy for everybody.
It is not easy, actually. I think you're the first guest that just kind of said it flatly. We all have a passion to serve the Lord, and we all have a vocation or a calling somewhere inside. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that, hey, because I have the natural desire to do this, it's going to make the path easy, smooth. It is many things easy. It is not. I'm glad you said that, actually. Yeah.
Some guys have absolutely beautiful experiences.
Yes.
And they never want to leave, and some don't. And that's right. That's with any school, right?
Any school, any experience, school, any pursuit. Yeah.
But for seminary, when you're a seminarian and you are in a formative program, and it is beyond a master's degree. It is a professional
degree. Definitely. Yeah.
This is something you're pursuing, something that is at the level of the Juris Doctorate or the medical doctorate.
Totally.
Here you've got 4 years of intensive theological education and applying that theological education in the field.
Yes. And all at the same time.
That right there, that is Holy Cross's strength. That it was the application of what we were learning.
Very well said. Very well said, Father. Because how long have you been a priest now? 11 years, I believe we said, right? And how often would you say you still think back to some of those field assignments, like you said, applying the theology you were learning in the field? Like I was assigned to a Hellenic nursing home. I'm sure you had something for a hospital ministry. I was the same. Were you at the Hellenic nursing home?
Yeah, at Holy Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. No way. And I still think back to those experiences, even though now I've been like on the parish side for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and I've had many experiences in parishes, but I still go back to those formative experiences, and as I'm sure you do too, all the way back 11 years ago.
Oh yeah. For that hospital ministry, that intense, 50 hours.
Yes.
50 hours. I did mine in the summer.
Yeah,
I had to.
So you stayed in Boston over summer?
Yeah, I stayed in Boston over 2 summers actually, because I did my hospital ministry in the summer, and I took advantage of the Kalinikion Institute.
No way. Who's your professor for Kalinikion? Kalinikion, for those of you watching, is it's an extra program. There are Greek language courses for modern Greek all throughout the year at Holy Cross, but Kalinikion is not an elective, but it's an optional program that you can choose and participate in. and I think it's much more immersive because it's the only class you have. The classes are longer. It's a great program for anyone who might be interested, because I think it's open to the public, right, Father? It's not just for students.
At my time, it was only open to the students. I don't know if Dr. Dova has expanded it.
I'm not sure either, because I know, just people from parishes around the country that went to Boston for it. But anyway, so you did Kalinikion, and who was your professor for Kalinikion? Was it Dr. Mata?
It was. It was.
so
Um,
you so
yeah,
you learned, you had a great learning experience then, because she's an excellent professor. So I'm sure you learned a lot of Greek in that time.
I did. I did. Now that I have a public forum to say it, I will say, Dr. Stamatia is the best educator on campus. Uh, that
Yeah.
she if she hasn't received the Professor of the Year award or anything like that, she is absolutely deserving of it. Um,
I would agree.
how she would take, she would assess the class at the beginning, and then shift her curriculum, her plan to make sure to maximize the learning for the students. And so that she really made it a joy to study the Greek language. And having the Kalinikion Institute, we were able to get 6 credits out of the way in a month.
Oh, nice.
And so that's and we're going to get into why I did that in a second.
Sure.
But the Kalinikion Institute, can't sing its praises enough. Thank you so much to the Kalinikion Institute for providing that funding. And it provided an environment for us, for those of us who really wanted to study. And that was something that I know about myself as a student, that I need to be around other students who really, really want to learn, especially when it's a subject that I'm not very good at.
Right.
Or
Right.
one that I struggle.
Right.
And so that was a real blessing.
That's cool. It's kind of makes a little more sense now. I will share. Father Andrew and I, we're in a group text with some other brothers around the country from the seminary, and Father Andrew is not Greek, correct, Father? Is there a percentage? Father Andrew is not Greek, yet somehow Father Andrew has a handle on I don't want to say Greek slang, because it's not slang, but on like just the fun little phrases and the subtle nuances of the language and the culture that are kind of lost on, oftentimes native speakers. And I'm like, how does he know about these things? And it kind of makes sense, because Kalinikion and all of Matas and the other Greek professors, like Panioti League, like their classes were very well rounded in all aspects of language, but then how it's alive and works in the culture and everything. So now I've always wondered that about you. How did you get that aspect of the Greek? And it's from Kalinikion. So very nice, Father. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So okay, we got into the Kalinikion, but you said you were going to then share why you did the Kalinikion, and how did that play into your Holy Cross experience, or path, shall we say?
So the reason that I took advantage of the Kalinikion Institute, other than the fact that those other reasons that I had previously stated, is that seminary is hard. There are so many requirements placed on the shoulders of the seminarians, and
Yes.
everything was top priority. You
Yes.
had to be in chapel. You had to be a good student.
Yes. You had to be involved. You had to volunteer. Yeah.
Exactly. You had to do you had to do your duty on altar team. You had to be on your chanting team. You're trying to work. You don't want to embarrass yourself at the chanter stand, so you got to do all of that practice. You got to do all the studying, all of your reading. You also have to pay your tuition. So I was also working, and so by being able to offload or take remove 6 or 9 credits out of my year, to be able to that was how I was able to handle the rest of the requirements of being a seminarian.
On top of a job and everything. Yeah. It probably freed you up significantly. I like that. And now looking back, it makes it makes a tremendous amount of sense to do it that way. At least one less thing to worry about during the school year when you're going full bore ahead. Yeah.
Right, right. That's the thing that no, I was not prepared for. Nobody,
And I don't think
I didn't get
many.
it. We don't want, I know, like, this podcast, we want people to consider the priesthood. I want
Sure.
people to consider the priesthood with open eyes. Um,
Yes.
it is arguably the most rewarding thing you can do on the planet, but it is also one of the most difficult professions on the planet.
Definitely.
I get some of the greatest joys and the worst suffering.
Right. It is both ends of the spectrum. You're with people in the happiest moments of their lives, baptisms, weddings, and you're with people in the most awful, tragic moments of their lives in the hospital as loved ones are passing away. Um, and then for you personally, Father, since we're talking about high highs, low lows, and stuff, what are some of like the greatest joys of the priesthood for you? Obviously, this is something that you'd known you'd want to do for a long time. You went in with a full picture, as full of a picture as anyone can have from the outside world, shall we say, and you're very nicely trying to create that again for other people who would be interested. So what would you say are some of your greatest joys in the priesthood?
My greatest joy is when I witness the grace of God or the hand of God working in an individual or a group of people or in a situation. That's that's really that's really the priesthood in a nutshell. It's
Right,
not it's not me. It's not me. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything.
right,
All I did is say, okay, that yes, that I said yes to God, that I genuinely feel called to this,
right.
and that I guess I made it. I was ordained. Uh,
Yeah,
um, I still don't feel worthy. I didn't feel worthy then.
right.
I don't feel worthy now. Um,
Which is a good thing. I would say there's prayers in the liturgy every Sunday. I don't
right,
know this
right,
well
right.
as you, obviously. Yeah, the unworthy priest. Yeah.
So stop trying to puff me up. Let me enjoy my humility.
No, no, we got you, Father.
but,
And so when you say when you see the hand of God in people's lives, or the grace of God working through people, are you referring to watching people grow spiritually, people on their spiritual journey, people putting their faith into action in the community? In what kinds of ways do you see the grace of God in maybe parishioners or other people that you come across?
it's all of that and more.
Cool.
It's the baptisms. It's the simple discussions, whether it's just in
Yep.
coffee hour or sitting down the office or going out for coffee, but or just being pulled aside and the light going on, the epiphany that is had. Like, well, I never thought of it that
Right.
way, or that makes so much sense. Or to meet someone in their lowest point,
Hmm.
and to just be there for them, and then to witness the complete transformation.
Yeah.
That to see someone that was felt so far away from God, to then come so close, to be someone that was not even considered Orthodox, now coming to church every single Sunday, to see the joy in their faces as they approach the chalice, you know all of these things, when going out to visit someone who is sick or dying,
Right.
and especially dying. When you go to visit someone like that is the they are laid bare. That is their absolute most vulnerable moment.
Weakest.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and to see the tears of joy when you are distributing communion, giving communion to them, knowing that they are communing with God, that they're receiving communion for the last time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, and it's, my request then is, please pray for me. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you pray for me now.
Right.
That's where, no matter how beaten down, um, I've been, when those
Right.
moments happen, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Exactly. I'm so glad to hear you say that. The joys for you are about seeing the faith working in other people because sometimes it's like religion in general. I'm talking like very big picture. Like the connotation with religion is like there's certain people doing things the right way, and God works for these people. It's like a bunch of checklists, and sometimes um, whether it be the representatives of the faith in respective faiths will say, okay, you're doing this correctly, you're not doing this correctly. The faith is done this way, but it's really in the Orthodox Church, of course, God's love is for everyone, right? And the trick as priests is trying to get people to understand how God's love should work in their lives because this isn't it's not a secret society. It's not a list of rules and demands. It's something that you as the priest are just trying to communicate the love of God in Jesus Christ and bring him to the people so that he can work in their lives. And so it's very nice for me to hear that that's what you enjoy most about the priesthood because as you said it's kind of like what it's all about, right? I mean, what else are we doing here? To go back to that's why you left politics because you realized it would not be serving people. So now you're serving people probably definitely in the most meaningful way that someone can. So,
just like,
so
let
good
me
for
say real quick, like, um, don't I don't disparage politicians because there are plenty of good politicians that
you. Yes,
are out there helping the people. The reason that I left
like the one you
DC
work
was,
for. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The reason I left DC was I wasn't sure within myself why I was there. I needed to be sure that I was there to help people, and so uh, by going on to seminary, I really felt that this was what I was being called to. This is what I need to do.
For you,
But
this is how you could serve people. Right. Of course, there are many capable, good-hearted politicians that fight the good fight for the right reasons. Just any industry, business, the church, politics. Like
right,
there's always temptation to stray off the path, and so you knew that the path for you would be the priesthood to serve people the way that you wanted to serve. And of course, there are amazing politicians all around the country. I'm a former poli sci major myself.
all right.
So you're very good, Father. Very good. Now, when you're not Father, I mean, you're always Father Andrew, but when you're not at the church, when you're not at a church function, what are some things you're doing in your spare time? How do you unwind from the routine and things like that? What do you enjoy doing when you're not at church?
That's once you become, it's easier as an assistant priest. If
Okay, this is
you
interesting. You're
if
a
you
Prostomenos
you're,
now, right?
I'm a Protestant, yes. So
Okay,
I'm the only priest. I'm the only priest at St. Demetrius in Rocky River.
gotcha.
But
Okay,
I had a great blessing to be an assistant priest uh, under Father Jerry Hall at
okay,
Annunciation in Akron, Ohio, and I was there for
okay.
6 years. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, and so that was a fantastic time. And so you are able to have a little bit more free time when there's two of you.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure. Yeah,
now with
absolutely.
two boys, they're 6 and 8. They're heavy into their activities, so their
Yeah,
activities become my activities.
yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah.
So that is also something to be aware of, that you actually have to work at taking time off.
You
And I
do.
notice in
Yeah.
myself, if I don't, if I don't, my parish suffers, my people suffer, I suffer.
Right. If you're
And
burnt out, how can you, even though you're there, let's say every day, but let's say you're a burnt out Father Andrew every day, and people are coming to you with issues and situations that you need to be fully present to be able to effectively serve. How can you do that if you're running on zero, right? Yeah.
right, so find something you love. I like trying different things. Um, I've gone shooting. Um,
Oh, I
so,
didn't know that.
so
Cool.
so that's been fun. Presbytera Lorena. She's better than me.
Really? Now, what are you guys shooting? Are you
Yeah, yeah.
shooting handguns? Is it shotguns, like skeet shooting? What kind of stuff?
She's Prez is pretty surgical with the shotgun.
No way.
So
That's hilarious.
shotguns, rifles, pistols.
Right.
I haven't done I haven't done too much. This isn't like my main hobby. I've only been
Okay,
out a
but
couple of times. She's
sure.
been out. She's been out a few.
That's
So there's shooting. There's taking advantage of wherever you are, doing
yes.
the things that make your city or town great. For
Local
us,
pastime.
with Cleveland, we've got Lake Erie. This is our greatest
Oh,
natural resource. So taking advantage of time to be out on the lake with friends, it's great. Once you're out on that water, that's everything else. All the troubles go away.
cool, man.
That's you're when you're off out on the water, you're in a different world. Um,
Definitely.
President and I have been playing darts, dartboard
Oh,
game.
yeah. Sometimes
Uh,
some of the classic games and pastimes are some of the simplest are some of the best ones. Yeah.
well, that's great. So there's an orthodoxy on tap with OCF. I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm not going to embarrass myself.
You got to step on up. Yeah. Yeah. Try to be Father Andrew. That's cool, man. And then if I remember, I think you and President Lorena, you guys were in Albania for a little bit this summer. Now, when I go on vacation, I usually go to Greece, but as I understand, Albania has a lot of similarities, being just north of Greece. So, what do you like about unwinding in Albania? What kinds of things you guys enjoy when you're there?
When I go to Albania, so my wife came over from all of her family's there. So when we go, we're seeing her
Whoa,
family. Yeah, parents, her sister, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody's over there. So
whoa!
we go to see them. We go to see our family. And I love it because I get treated like royalty.
The king, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm sure they want you to come, they want you to love Albania. Yeah, yeah. So they probably take care of you. Yeah,
you know, so that and it's also a real joy to serve in Albania and talk about hospitality. The Albanian people are so incredibly hospitable, and whenever I send my paperwork in to Tirana, it's an incredible joy to be able to go celebrate with all of my brother clergy that are over there. And it's almost embarrassing because one of the things that they will do is that when I come to serve with them to be at the cathedral and to um, when I go to serve, they always have me serve either in the second or third position, um, and so it'll be the one of the bishops will be serving as it will be presiding, and then
wow,
there's typically an archimandriti, so
yeah.
he's always second, but then they'll put me third,
Look at that, the
and
visitor.
it's it's so embarrassing because I'm such a young guy, and everybody after me, they're all proto presbyters.
Like super veteran
And so
priests all around, and you're just there. Like, hey,
it,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's like, but they are so full of joy when they serve.
yeah,
It is an incredible thing to see, to witness uh, orthodoxy just flourishing,
yeah,
um, and to be able to see the beauty of Albania.
yeah.
To see it's the only place I know in the world where you can be on the beach in 90-degree weather with your
Hmm.
feet in crystal blue water.
Hmm.
And that same day, that same afternoon, to be able to drive up into the mountains to have lunch, and it's 50 degrees, and you're
Oh,
staring down at the location right where you were. I haven't experienced that anywhere else, and it's
that's
absolutely
pretty cool.
breathtaking.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, so it is. I love going to Albania, and it gives me the opportunity also to see friends in Greece. If we've got the chance, we will go. Um,
Awesome, man.
that or get out sailing in the Ionian. It's
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Well, cool. We're coming to the end of our time, but before we sign off, Father, is there any last advice or something you would offer someone who is interested in pursuing the path of the priesthood?
If you have thoughts about joining the priesthood, or that this is the path that you are being called to, talk to as many priests as possible. Talk to the guys that you know. Talk to whoever. Call me. Text me.
There you go.
It's it's we got the parish website. You can contact me anytime.
What is your parish website one more time? Tell them, Father.
The parish website is Saint Demetrius, all spelled out, SaintDemetrios, RR as in Rocky River.org.
Right. Cool.
And so just Saint Demetrius and Rocky River. Just Google that. You'll be able to find us.
Cool.
And talk to guys. Ask questions. Find out what it is. Find out what the reality is about what you need to prepare for. Being able to find everything from finding scholarships and grants. There is money out there. There are people in your parishes willing to support you. There are a number of guys that they were just individually, privately supported by parishioners. The making sure that you have everything you need in order to serve the Lord, to be able to provide for your family, to be able to grow a family. Every priest should be able to have a family if he so desires, because it's a wonderful thing, and it's an incredible blessing that absolutely shapes how you perceive how to be a priest. We call our priest father. And to your point, that we're not a church of check boxes and lists. Right. Our faith with God is relational. It's familiar. Right. That's why we call our priests father. Right. And so ask the questions. It's not impossible, and if you think it is, you may be surprised at the answers.
Very nice, Father. Thank you. I think that says it nicely for anyone out there who might be interested. And we appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, like you said, Prois Dominos, only priest at your church there. So I personally appreciate you being my first guest on season 2, shall we say. It's always a joy to reconnect. And even our friends, we learn more about their stories, and it's always fun for me. So thank you, Father Andrew. God bless you and all the good work you do, and may he give you strength for many more years. And thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Path to the Priesthood. We will see you next time.